Very good afternoon, dear participants. We are back for this particular session. Our expert has already joined, but we are just still waiting for a few more participants to join because very less participation till now, only 70, 72. However, some of the participants are there at YouTube streaming also. So no issue. So we can wait for a few more minutes, then we will request our expert to start. Very good afternoon, Sandeep sir. Am I audible, Sandeep sir? Okay, we are just waiting. There might be some connectivity issue with our expert. So just wait for a few more minutes so that we can begin with.
See.
Hello, Sandeep sir. Am I audible to you? Can anyone can confirm, please? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible now.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
You're audible, sir.
Okay.
சரிங்க.
Yeah, Sandeep sir, now you are, am I audible now?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, now you are very audible clearly.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so yeah. Shall we start?
So,
Shall we start?
yeah,
Okay, very good afternoon,
so
sir.
sorry for
So no issues, sir. Actually, this is the virtual platform, and these are the very common issues nowadays. So no issue.
yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
dear sir, we welcome you again here on this platform on the second session of yours. So dear participant, our experts has already joined. So I'm just requesting Dr. Sandeep sir to just start his session. Sir, I should hand over to you, please.
Yes. So, very good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
And in last session, we have seen the custom surgical guides, the development of custom surgical guides. Then we have also discussed some different case studies related to the custom surgical guides. In this session, we will see what are custom surgical guides and or 3D printed custom surgical guides. So in my lecture, I will show you different applications and will show some products and services related to our company. So you have seen this slide in previous session also. For the development of custom surgical guides, four important steps. First one is the scanning. It involves CT scan, MRI scan, or any raw data from imaging. In the second step, it requires image processing by using different biomedical softwares like Mimics and Thematic, like Geomagic D2P and Geomagic Freeform software. Then the next step is the virtual surgical planning. That virtual surgical planning is very much important because whatever the plan we are doing virtually, that next we have to incorporate that plan into a particular design of guide. So virtual surgical planning after image process, then design particular disease model, maybe for the mock surgery that may be required, or even for the virtual surgical planning that required. Then designing of the custom surgical guide, custom implant, and after the designing, the testing is also very important step. After completion of the CAD module, the next step is the of this particular maybe a custom surgical guide or a custom implant. So there are number of different technologies are available. By using these technologies, we can develop our custom implant maybe in a metallic one, titanium, steel 316, or custom surgical guides. We can develop it in any polymeric material, maybe in ABS, PLA, or any biocompatible material. Once it is done, you can perform the mock surgery with your developed product. And once it is done, once it is okay from the surgeon's point of view, then you can very easily, after sterilization, you can use this custom surgery. So that we have discussed in the previous class also. In this session, we will see after development of this particular surgical guides, what are the different applications where we can prominently use this type of surgical guides into the surgery, which helps to increase the accuracy of the surgery as well as reduce the surgery time. So we have also discussed, even though there are various applications of this particular device custom surgical guide, but broadly it has categorized into three, that is drilling guide, cutting guide, as well as the positioning guide to assemble the receptor bone. So we will see how these threads are useful in various surgeries. The first one is the dentistry. This is a from which the custom surgical guide. um so first surgical guide was the drilling guide, and these are prominently used in a dentistry first. So you can see that the upper two designs are for the drilling of the mandibular part. So by placement of the implant, maybe that implant may not be always be straight. There may be some angulation that you have to manage performing a virtual surgical plan. That how to in a design and then convert it into a particular part. So the bottom three figures are related to the maxillary size. So these are the particular for drilling of the drilling into the maxilla side. So whatever the your plan that you have to incorporate into the surgical planning, and then very easily you can develop this type of surgical guide for the drilling purposes. So this is called as custom surgical drilling guide. You can also see that after virtual surgical planning and after fabrication this part particular surgical guide into a polymeric material, there may be chances of breakage or cutting of this plastic based material while performing the actual drilling. So in such cases, to fit this type of metallic sleeves which helps to reduce the wear between the cutting tool or drilling tool and the particular device, which way helps to increase the accuracy of the surgery. This type of metallic sleeves can be developed by using any conventional machine or any other techniques. It is not necessary to develop this type of regular sleeves by using 3D printing because it is a costly technology. But this type of sleeves, not only for the particular drill, but for the different sizes of the drill that can be developed and as per your fit to the plastic part and then use into the surgery for the drilling purposes in the side of dentistry. So these are custom surgical drilling guide basically useful in the dentistry for drilling in the mandibular side as well as the maxillary side. You can see this is the another type of custom surgical guide. So in the case of orthodontic, for the fixation of the braces to align the teeth in the cases of orthodontic treatment, this type of C type mini plates are useful. So basic problem in this orthodontic treatment is how to fix this particular C tube mini tape, this metallic one C tube mini plate on actual position. That is the problem. So how to fit this? Then only if it is not, if not fitted this plate properly on the particular location, then it will be difficult to place this particular bases or braces wire exactly on the location, and there may be chances of improper alignment of the teeth. So fixation of this metallic mini plate exactly on the position is the main requirement. So for fixation of this type of particular C tube mini plate, this type of custom surgical guides are useful. So you can see that that green one is the design of this type of particular custom surgical guide. Okay, so in the case of this particular custom surgical guide, this is of cutting guide. This is a custom surgical cutting guide. So you can see this is the particular base surface which helps to fit this custom surgical guide on their position. So you can see in this figure there is also provision is provided to fit this particular mini plate into the custom surgical guides on it. Okay, so there is a provision to fit or fix this particular mini plate onto custom surgical guide, and then after snugly fitting it over the particular, you can see it can find its location wherever it has to fit onto the particular bone of the maxilla. Okay, so with provision, it provided the rotationary provision onto the custom surgical guide. Now in the figure you can see the cutting slot is also provided. By using this cutting slot, very easily surgeon can location of the cutting and performing the cutting operation. Okay, once it is done, they have to cut it down, cut that particular custom surgical guides from the cutting section, and very easily he can rotate this particular mini plate, which will obtain its required location. After rotation of this particular pin from its hinge support, they provide its location of the drilling. By using this he can drill this perform the drilling operation on the required location, and then by fixing the screws he can fix this mini plate on an exact location. So this is possible, or this can be used mandibular side as well as the maxillary side. So this is the advantage of this simple device. You can fix this type of mini plate for exact positioning just by snugly fitting and without using any external screws, which helps to increase the accuracy of this type of mini plates and improve the accuracy of the orthodontic. Next one is the in the craniomaxillofacial surgery. We have already discussed this type of case previous session. So, but the design of this custom surgical guide is different, which I have shown earlier. Okay, so you can see here they have just given two set devices. One is for the cutting of this particular location from his left side, and one is for the cutting of on the right side. The base surface to this custom surgical guide as well as the cutting slot. So in virtual surgery, they finalize the size of the tumor, and based on his size, they have taken the reference from this anatomy, which has provided base surface in the custom surgical guide, so that once it is developed, it can directly at the particular location. So that is the advantage of this base surface. So at the time of surgery, surgeon can very easily fit this particular device on the particular location and perform the cutting operation. Now at the time of surgery, surgeon need not have to take any measurement, and very easily he can accurately resect this particular tumor. In this particular figure, you can see this particular diagram is for the cutting of the graft from the fibula bone, which is again a very standard procedure. Instead of using any customized implant, we can fix the fibula bone also, but fibula is a straight bone and mandible is somewhat U-shaped bone, curvy bone. So in this case, fibula straight bone have to be cut into a number of pieces, and then we have to align it as per the requirement of the mandible. So it is very complicated surgery, and many times because of improper cutting of the graft, proper alignment of the mandible may not be possible. So in such a situation, accurate cutting of the particular fibula bone or accurate preparation of the graft is very important. So in this case, this type of custom surgical guides plays a very vital role. Another important surgery which is related to again craniomaxillofacial side, you might have seen many people having the problem of improper alignment of the teeth, or maybe their teeth are somewhat more toward the outside mouth. So in such a situation, surgeon has to the teeth profile. They maybe handle it by using orthodontic treatment, like by placing the braces, which we have seen in previous example. But in some severe cases, even though using orthodontic treatment, that particular teeth exactly, which may be related to the mandible. Also, in particular situation, there may be chances of cutting of this maxilla bone directly without aligning this maxillary teeth. So in such cases, or this particular surgery is called Fort 1 osteotomy. This is called as Lee Fort 1 osteotomy. In such cases, cutting of the maxilla bone is required. in this particular fashion. So you can see that in this particular case, they have, this is again a type of custom surgical cutting guide. This is again a type of custom surgical cutting guide, and they have developed this custom surgical guide in a metallic one, because of using the metal in the development of this type of custom surgical guide. You can see a very thin part can be possible to develop or manufacture. Okay, because it is a complex surgery, the space available is very less. So within the limited space and complicated anatomy, this type of metallic custom surgical guide provided very advanced or vital role, and basically useful for the lip one surgery in a craniomaxillofacial surgery. This is another type of custom surgical guide which is again related to the craniomaxillofacial surgery. In yesterday's session, we have seen the example of distractor. In the case of distractor surgery or mandibular distraction osteogenesis, one device is useful, that is called as the distractor. This is nothing different. It is just like a nut and bolt type of arrangement. It is nothing but a nut and bolt type of arrangement. They fix bolt to the upper part and the nut to the downward part. Okay, and just by rotating the bolt, they can separate out two bones after cutting from the middle portion. Okay, but in this case, fixation of this distractor exact location is the main challenge, as well as the cutting portion. To perform the cutting location, to obtain the cutting location is the main challenge. So in this particular case, because what happened in this type of particular surgery, this cut may require from both the side of the mandible, from left side as well as the right side. So to maintain the symmetry of the mandible, this cutting location is very important. If these cutting locations are not symmetric to both the side, there may be chances of improper distraction. So the cutting location is very important in this type of surgery. So for cutting accurately or symmetric, to obtain the symmetric cut, this type of cutting surgical guides are useful. This is again an example of custom surgical cutting guide, which are useful in a mandibular distraction osteogenesis for particular cutting of the bone from the particular location. This is again another type of design of the custom surgical guide, which are useful for the cutting of a particular bone in a craniomaxillofacial surgery. You can see that it is a just one-sided cut. It can, by using this particular device, you can it is possible to cut only, or you can perform only one single cut. Okay, why it is so? Because the complete bone from a particular side has to be resected. Complete bone has to be resected from this mandible. So this is one-sided cutting guide. In another figure, you can see the design is somewhat different. Again, it has developed by using a metal rapid prototyping or metal 3D printing. But it is the provision his provision is given for cutting of particular bone from two sided, left sided and right side. Okay, then next one is the positioning guide. After cutting of the particular bone, to assemble this resected bone on a particular position, this type of positioning guides are provided. The purpose is to assemble the resected bone exactly on their own location or a particular location. So these three types of different designs of custom surgical guides are useful in craniomaxillofacial surgeries. Another very popular and very interesting surgery is the orthognathic surgery, or it is also called as the genioplasty. Genioplasty is the surgery which is required to increase or decreasing the length of this particular chin bone. Okay, the length of the chin bone, this type of orthognathic surgery is required. So you can see in the figure number 1, so they have to perform a cut to the chin bone, and after cutting of this particular chin bone, they have to enlarge it, shorten the length of this particular chin bone. So once it has taken particular, by using a separate attachment, there are two attachments here. One is attached to the maxillary side and one is attached to the chin bone. You can see the figure number 1. So there are two parts. One is the upper part fixed with the maxilla and lower part is fitted with the particular chin bone. So just by taking the reference or just by changing this particular upper portion with the increasing height of this particular portion, very easily you can see fit the second part to the first part, and you can shift the location of this particular chin. You can shift downward or upward. You can increase or decrease the length of the chin, and that is very much easily possible by using this type of custom surgical guides. Otherwise, without using this type of custom surgical guide, it is very much problematic that how much we can shift or how much we shift this chin bone as per the requirement. Okay, so once it is done with the virtual surgical planning, you have to manufacture it by using 3D printing, and you can very easily use this type of surgical guide into a surgery like genioplasty or orthodontic surgery. Another very important and complicated surgery, that is sagittal split osteotomy. Now in this case, instead of cutting, instead of cutting, you have to split this particular bone from the sagittal plane. So you can see that in this particular figure, you can see that instead of cutting, they have split this particular bone from its sagittal plane, means the top plane. Okay, so in this particular case, they are not using any cutting saw for cutting of this particular bone, but instead of using the cutting saw, they are using a chisel and hammer type of instrument. So it is again dangerous when we use a hammer and chisel, so there may be chances of the crack propagation into a particular object or into particular bone. So in such a situation, to perform this operation, it is very much required to use some surgical guides. So in this case, this type of custom surgical guides are useful. You can see this middle portion or this middle particular slot is provided to put the hammer, to put the chisel over there, and then by applying the hammering, we can split it very easily. They have also provided this two fan blades like structure that is called as the retractor. The use of this retractor is to fit this particular device onto the bone, and just by pressing this to retractor, we can very easily take it out this particular device from the bone. So this is the advantage of this particular device for fixation of this particular device. Again, for fixation of this surgical guide, some holes are provided for the screwing arrangement, also. So it is depend on the particular type of patient, particular type of surgery, convenience of the patient as well as the convenience of the surgeon, and based on this, the design of custom surgical guide has been finalized. There is no any standard rule how to design this type of custom surgical guide, uh, and how to manufacture it again. So it is again depend on the plan as well as the resources available. So this is a very special type of case where instead of using the cutting saw, they using a hammer as well as the chisel for splitting of the bone, not the cutting. Again, this is the particular surgery. We have already discussed this in previous session. After resection of the particular tumor from the mandible, instead of using any custom implant, they have to provide the fibula bone, which is the straight bone, and this straight bone have to be cut into a number of pieces and then align it in such a way we obtain the mandibular curve. Align this straight bone in such a way so that we can obtain a particular curve of the mandible. So it is very complicated without using any custom surgical guide to cut this graft accurately and fit into the mouth. So this type of custom surgical guide for the fibula cutting as well as the mandible cuttings are useful. These are the example of custom surgical cuttings guides or osteotomy guides. Okay. Another very important thing is that you can see here they are not performing the straight cutting. They are performing the cutting in a stepwise. So some step type arrangement they have provided in a surgical guide. Okay, so as per the requirement, the surgeon can change the design as per the tumor size required cutting. They can change the design of the surgical guide, and after virtual surgical plan, they can transfer this virtual surgical plan into actual surgery by using this type of custom surgical guides. Okay. The next type of application of the surgical guide is total hip arthroplasty. In the case of total hip arthroplasty, you can see there is a some requirement to put the pin from his neck section exactly from the head of the particular hip bone. Okay, so to transfer of this particular pin from the center of this particular head of the femur bone exactly from its center and from the head and passing through the neck of the particular femur bone. So accurate transferring or accurate passing of the particular pin from the hip bone or from the head of the hip bone, this type of guides are basically useful. And this is again an example of custom surgical drilling guide. Custom surgical drilling guide useful in a total hip arthroplasty. Then another example is you can see this is the acetabular cup, and in the case of passing the pin from the center of the acetabular, this type of custom surgical guides are useful. These are both the example of customized surgical drilling guides. This is again the another example of the custom surgical guide which are useful in the hip orthoplasty. You can see in a virtual surgical plan they have decided the path of the pin which has to pass from the head of the femur bone from head to the neck from the center of this particular head of the femur bone. Okay, so this is again another type of custom surgical guide. There they provide a provision not only the drilling but the cutting. So it is the combination. They want to transfer this particular pin from the center of its head, and after that they have to cut this particular head from particular location. Okay, so the bottom plane of this particular guide is useful as a cutting guide, custom surgical cutting guide, and the upper particular arrangement has been provided to transfer the pin from the center of the head. So it is the combination of two guides, that is the drilling guide as well as the cutting guide, and these types of guides are useful in a total hip arthroplasty. Again, this is the another example of total hip arthroplasty where directly cutting of the femur bone from its neck section. This type of custom surgical cutting guides are useful. Here they have only provided the provision of the cutting guide. Okay, again this is the another example of the drilling guide which are useful in the acetabular bone for taking the drill at the center of the acetabular. So this type of surgical guides are useful in the total hip orthoplasty. This is again the another type of custom surgical guides, custom surgical cutting guide. You can see this red one is the tumor. This red one is the tumor in the acetabulum, and they want to perform this particular tumor accurately from the acetabulum. So they have divided this surgical guide into a three parts. They have divided these guides into a three parts, and by using these three parts, they can very easily cut this particular tumor from the acetabular cup exactly using this type of custom surgical cutting guides. So these are the another type or another example of the cutting guide which are useful in the cutting of the tumor which are available in the acetabular site. In the case of knee orthoplasty, to cut the particular bone or to perform the many times because of the tumor, they have to cut this particular knee joint or knee bone. So in this type, you can see this is the another type of example of the surgical guide. They have to resect this particular tumor from the knee section. Okay, so to cut it very precisely, they have designed this type of particular surgical guide. Again, after development of this type of guide, they perform the surgery and you can see the result after cutting of this particular bone by using this type of custom surgical guide. So this is the example of surgical guide, cutting guide useful in the knee orthoplasty. You can see this is the another type of design which are specifically useful for cutting of the two bone available in the knee joint, that is the upper bone, femur bone, as well as the tibia bone. So it is the joint of two bone. So for cutting up this particular bone, maybe because of some accidental issue or maybe some resection of the tumor from the knee joint, they have to cut it first properly, then only they can fit the particular knee implant over there. So to align this particular knee implant exactly, first they have to cut this bone exactly as per the plan, then only that knee implant can be placed accurately. Otherwise, there may be chances of discrepancy of the bone. This is again another example of the custom surgical guide. These are the example of drilling guide specifically. After cutting from the particular portion, then you have to fit that customized implant or customized knee implant over there. So to match the fixation location or the drilling location of this particular implant, first you have to perform some drilling operation. So by using this drilling hole or by using this particular hole, you can very easily fit the knee implant. So before actually fixation of this particular knee implant, first you have to perform some drill or to perform some holes there, so that by using this hole, this particular customized implant can be fit over there. So before that, by using this type of custom surgical drilling guide, they perform the holes over there, and then very accurately they can fit this type of custom surgical or customized implant, customized knee implant at the particular location. So this is again the example of drilling guide useful in the knee orthoplasty. Another very complicated surgery is the spine surgery. In the case of spinal surgery, you can see in the first figure, this is the case of scoliosis. Scoliosis is nothing but you can see the vertebral column is totally bent. Okay, this is not a normal vertebral column, they having a particular bend. And in a particular case of the scoliosis, surgeons want to straight this particular vertebral column. So how do they perform the straightening of this vertebral column? They insert a screws into a particular bones. You can see these blue colors picture are showing the custom surgical guide. They are provided to fit this particular screws. So how to fit these screws into particular bone of the vertebra? You can see here, they have to pass this particular bone from this narrowest portion, and this particular portion is called as the pedicle. This particular portion is called as the pedicle. So surgeon has to transfer the screw from this pedicle in such a way that that need not have to touches with the spinal cord, because from this hole the spinal cord has been passed. If this touches to the spinal cord, it will damage the spinal cord and chances of the some major injury. Okay, so to avoid this type of injury to the spinal cord, they have to perform this surgery very minutely or very precisely. So in such a particular thing, this type of custom surgical guide plays very vital role. Once you have inserted this particular screws from the pedicle, surgeon has passes this type of wire from the screws and then performing the or they provided the tension to the wire and trying to straightening the particular vertebral column. So in this type of particular surgery or particular complex surgery, the main challenge is how to fit this type of pedicle screws exactly on the planned location or exactly into the center of the pedicle, so that accurate fixation of this particular wire can be possible and straightening of the complete vertebral column is possible. Okay, so in such a type of complex surgeries like scoliosis, this type of custom surgical guide plays a very vital role. This is another example of custom surgical guide which are useful in the pedicle screws. So this type of surgical guide basically useful for all the types of bone available in the vertebra like cervical bones, then thoracic bone, lumbar bone, and if required in a sacral also. So these are the different types of bones available in the vertebral column, and for all the types of bone, this type of custom surgical guides are provided. Again, it is an example of customized surgical drilling guide useful in the spinal surgery. You can see here, this is another type of design. Again, they have provided the metallic sleeve in a drilling guide, and the design is somewhat different. So this type of custom surgical guides are useful in a pedicle screw to transfer this type of screws exactly from the center of the pedicle without touching to the spinal cord. That is the main challenge in this surgery. So this is the again a very good example of custom surgical drilling guide. This is another type of surgery, that is the corrective osteotomy. In many cases, maybe in accidental cases, there may be chances of improper breakage of the bone. So to cut this particular bone exactly from the required location, this type of custom surgical guides, when it is cut, they can fit customized implant or customized plate also over there. Okay, so for cutting of any bone exactly, maybe the case of tumor or any accidental case where accurate cutting is required, and after cutting then particular bone graft or customized implant may be required. So in such a cases, accurate cutting is required first, that is the initial condition. So you can see this type of custom surgical cutting guides are useful in a corrective osteotomy also. This is again the example of customized surgical cutting guide. This is another example of customized surgical cutting guide. You can see for bone tumor resection, and after cutting this bone tumor to provide a accurate graft as per the requirement of this particular bone. So this is first design is for the accurate resection of the bone tumor, and at this after removal of the tumor, to fix the or to prepare the particular graft from the different bone, this type of cutting guides are useful. So first one is for the tumor resection and another one is for the preparation of the graft. So this is the example of custom surgical cutting guide in the domain of bone tumor resection and allograft reconstruction. So this type of custom surgical cutting guides are useful. You can see this is the case of orthopedic oncology. Again, the cutting of the tumor from this particular bone, where you can see the difference between the when we using a custom surgical cutting guide. This is the result of custom surgical cutting guide, and this figure showing the cutting of the bone without using the custom surgical guide. Even though they got a very accurate result in the case of without using custom surgical guide, but you can see minutely there is not a proper alignment of cutting, which is possible only by using the customized surgical cutting guide. This is again another beautiful example in a orthopedic oncology or particular case of the tumor resection. You can see this yellow one is the cutting of the bone, particular tumorous section, and then next one is the preparation of the particular graft for this after resection of the tumor. So you can see the result after using this type of cutting guides, how accurately you can fix this graft at the required location. You can see how accurately fix this type of grafts at a required location. This is the advantage of this type of custom surgical cutting guide used in the orthopedic oncology in various surgeries. Another very famous example is the orbital implant fixation. In the case of orbital implant fixation, because of the very delicate part of the orbit, this is very delicate part. So in this particular portion, to fix this implant exactly on a particular location, so it is very much important to accurately transfer the virtual surgical plan into the actual surgery. So for that, this type of particular drilling guide to fixation of the implant into the orbital side, this type of custom surgical drilling guides plays very vital role. You can see in the figure how this is useful to fixation of this type of drilling operation and fixation of the implant at the orbital location. So this is again another example of custom surgical drilling guide. Then another example is this is again the example of the drilling guide where they use again at the site of metatarsophalangeal joint. These are the fingers of your leg. Okay, so just to twist the two bones, that is metatarsal and the phalange bone, just to twist the two bones, they have fitted this type of customized surgical guide. This is again example of the drilling guide. By using this custom surgical guide, they perform the drill and pass the surgical guide, and then these pins are useful. These two stainless steel pins are useful just to twist and adjust the bone so that you can obtain a proper metatarsophalangeal joint. So this type of surgical guides are useful in many bone joints. This is the example of metatarsophalangeal joint. This is again an example of custom surgical cutting guide. Another very popular example is the neurosurgery. In the case of neurosurgery, surgeon has to hit the particular location in the bone, in the brain. In the neurosurgery, surgeon has to target a particular location inside the brain to stimulate the brain. So in this case, you can see they have created a arrangement. They have taken the reference from the face. You can see this red one is the face mask. They have taken the reference from this particular face mask and provided different attachment. By using this attachment, and the last one is the needle holder which is attached to the arm. By using this holder, they passes their needle from the cranial section towards the brain, and they hit the particular target inside the brain. So this type of surgical guides are useful. This is again an example of custom surgical drilling guide which are useful in the neurosurgery. So this is the raw design of this custom surgical guide, and advanced design is this one. So you can see this type of custom surgical guides are useful to target the brain, or which is available here. So to stimulate the particular brain by using some stimulus or some probe, to passing this probe exactly and to hit the particular target inside the brain, this type of custom surgical guides are useful. Okay, and the next version of this type of custom surgical guide is this is the advanced version and actually useful into the surgery. You can see here, this is the this is the single when the when to perform a single drilling operation, this type of guides are useful. This is the single arm and this is the double arm. Okay, when to provide the passing of the stimulus from two different sections, this type of double sided needle holder are provided. This is the example of custom surgical drilling guide. So here you can see in a virtual surgical plan, they plan such that so that needle can be passing from the center of this particular design and hit to the target inside the brain. Okay, so in virtual surgical planning they plan it, and in as per the requirement they can use into the neurosurgery to hit the particular location inside the brain to stimulate the brain. So this is again a very good example of the custom surgical drilling guide which are useful in the neurosurgery. So these are the various applications of custom surgical guides, and the purpose of this all type of custom surgical guides are to increase the accuracy of the surgery, to reduce the surgery time of the surgery, and most important is to whatever you have planned in a virtual surgical planning, that custom surgical guide having the capability to accurately transfer that virtual surgical planning into the actual surgery. That is the main motto of this custom surgical guide. So apart from this, these are the different anatomical models. These are the I am showing the various products and services of the Precision Private Limited. We are working in the domain, so we are providing different anatomical models for various surgeries, then virtual surgical planning for various surgeries, then design and development of the custom surgical guides for various surgeries, then development, design and development of customized implant. These are the mandible implant, then cranial implant, metatarsophalangeal implant, then ear caps. These are the various products of our company. Then finite element analysis on anatomical models. Apart from the custom surgical guide, this is another very unique design of the surgical guide. But this is not a custom surgical guide. This is the generalized guide, which are useful for accurate resection of the mandible. And we are developing this device in a metallic one, biocompatible material. Okay, because in a polymeric material, there may be chances of the cutting of the custom surgical guides or polymeric or plastic based custom surgical guide while actual cutting of the tumor. So because of the cutting of that guide itself, there may be chances of hamper of the accuracy of the surgery. So to avoid it, we are developing this type of guides in a metallic one, that is SS304L material. And again, the speciality of this guide is it is adjustable. So because of the adjustable nature, this device can be useful to any patient's mandible. Any types of tumor can be resected by using the same guide. And the major advantage of this device is after completion of the one surgery, you can wash it, sterile it, and again use it into the next surgery. So which helps to reduce the cost of the surgery also. This is another version of the same device, but it is useful for the mandible cutting as well as the fibula bone cutting and preparation of the fibula graft and aligning this particular fibula graft in such a way that which is exactly suitable to the mandible. So this is another version of adjustable surgical guide we are providing in SS304 biocompatible material. So these are the different products of our company. Again, we having a very good 3D printing facilities. By using, we can provide all types of polymers, that is from PLA, ABS to the all high performance material like PIC and PEC material. Again, different types of biocompatible material manufacturing is also possible in our lab. Different 3D scanning technology is available, which are useful for various purposes for product development as well as the different maybe model development for finite element analysis and other. Thank you. If you're having any question, you can ask.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you for this another wonderful session on the theme of our FDP. We are very delighted to have you here. So, dear participant, Dr. Sandeep, sir, now open for the queries. If you have any queries in this regard, you can ask, or those queries can be related to this particular session and also the previous session of Dr. Sandeep. So both the sessions, the queries related to that, they can be covered definitely. Directly, you can write your queries here.
I think no question from
Yeah, not
any
yet. So
participant.
we are just waiting for a few more minutes, so then we will compile. Please.
Yes, sir, yes, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
not my
one query is there. Sir, how micro slots is fabricated in customized surgical guides shown in slide 6? I think some micro slots you have shown there, I think in slide 6. So he's asking about how that was fabricated, the slot.
Okay, so this particular slot is around of 2 mm. So if you design this type of particular slot, that can be manufactured very easily by using any 3D printing. That is not a big thing. So nothing special here. The slot size is around 2 mm. So it is possible to fabricate. It is not difficult one.
Okay. So what is the material of their,
I
I
think
think
I have give
the transparent kind of material is shown. So I think that material.
some. I think this someone resin type of material they use. We have not used. Actually, this figure has been taken from the literature, but some dental material they have using for development of this guide.
So someone is asking that how to make uh, customized surgical guides from scratch without 3D printing.
So many time what in previous practice also some dental waxes are available and they are people are using this type of surgical guides also. So by using the dental wax, what they did, they directly put this particular dental wax on a particular anatomy and manually they created a particular cutting slot or drilling slot over there as per their requirement. Okay, and once they have given all the particular cutting location or drilling location over there, they can use this product, that wax product, without using any 3D printing. That raw wax product they can use into the surgery, even though in many previous surgery they using this type of wax custom surgical guides. But again, this is a manual type and chances of inaccuracy, but still people are using this type of wax surgical guides.
Okay, sir. So yeah, dear participant, if any queries, so just quick, be very quick because session is just about to compile and Dr. Sandeep sir is waiting for your queries in this regard. So if any, then you can write here in the chat box. Rest we will just compile this. Okay, Sandeep sir. So what I feel that most of the queries and interaction in between you have already very thoroughly explored. So I think we can compile the session here. Thank you so much, Sandeep sir, for your entire support throughout making this FTP more successful, more meaningful. We are very delighted to have you here for your valuable time.
Okay, thank you, sir, for this particular session, and thank you all the participants. Thank you,
Yeah.
all of you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, dear participants, so we are compiling our day 4 of this FDP here, and we will see you tomorrow. Whatever any further instruction information will be there, it will be regularly keep on sharing in our WhatsApp group. Okay, so keep updated out of it. Okay, link of the attendance also being shared here on WhatsApp group, on YouTube channel, everywhere it is just being shared. So please mark your attendance particularly, and accordingly your attendance will be provided on ATAL portal.